Imagine your mind is a haunted house. You are both the terrifying ghost in the attic and the trembling victim hiding under the bed. Every day you run from yourself. You drown out the haunting with podcasts, work, and endless scrolling. But what happens when you lock the doors? What happens when you turn off every single light? For thousands of years, Tibetan monks have practiced the dark retreat. Weeks, months, sometimes years, in absolute pitch-black silence. No sunlight, no eye contact, no escapes. They don't do it to torture themselves. They do it to dismantle the ego. I wanted to know if this ancient Himalayan hack could cure my own self-sabotage. So I locked myself in a completely dark room. And what I found inside changed everything I thought I knew about the human brain. We are obsessed with optimization. When we feel broken, we try to buy a fix. We download meditation apps that gamify our peace. We read self-help books written by billionaires. We try cold plunges, dopamine fasting, morning routines. We treat our minds like a broken machine that just needs the right oil. But this is a trap, a shiny, highly profitable trap. Because all these solutions require action. They require doing more, consuming more, being more. We are trying to outrun our own shadow. We think if we just move fast enough, the darkness won't catch us. But self-sabotage isn't a speed problem. It is a symptom of a mind that has never learned to sit still. The false solution is adding more noise to drown out the signal. To understand the dark retreat, you have to understand the brain's default mode network. The DMN is the narrator of your life. It is the voice in your head telling you who you are. It generates your anxiety, your ego, your self-doubt. Normally, the DMN is anchored by your senses. You see a mirror, you remember your face. You see your phone, you remember your status. But in absolute darkness, the senses are starved. The brain goes into a panic. It begs for stimulation. When it gets nothing, the DMN begins to collapse. Psychologists call this ego dissolution. Without external data, the boundaries of you begin to blur. Self-sabotage relies on a strict narrative of who you are. Destroy the narrative, and the sabotage loses its power. The first phase of darkness is rebellion. Day 1 is just boring, but Day 2 is biological warfare. Your visual cortex is desperate for light, so it starts inventing it. I saw geometric shapes flashing in the void, colors that don't exist in the natural world. The brain is literally hallucinating to keep itself entertained. This is the sensory deprivation effect. It is terrifying. You realize your reality is entirely constructed by your brain. If the brain can invent light in a dark room, it can invent the threats you feel every day. Your imposter syndrome, your fear of failure, they are just psychological hallucinations. Once the hallucinations fade, the real work begins. You enter the void. Carl Jung called this the shadow. In the dark, every repressed memory rises to the surface, every embarrassing mistake, every hidden shame. There is nowhere to swipe, nowhere to scroll. You are trapped in a room with your greatest enemy, yourself. I felt a crushing wave of panic. My brain begged me to open the door. But this is the mechanism of the retreat. You must surrender to the monster. When you stop fighting the shadow, it loses its fangs. You realize the self-sabotage was just a misguided protector. It was trying to keep you safe from a danger that isn't real. Now, I have to give you a warning. Do not try this in your closet this weekend. The dark retreat is psychologically violent. Without proper grounding, sensory deprivation can induce actual psychosis. People have lost their minds in the dark. Westerners love to steal Eastern practices and strip them of context. We call it biohacking, but the Tibetans spend years meditating before they enter the dark. They build a psychological anchor first. If you enter the void without an anchor, you will drift away. You risk spiritual bypassing, using radical experiences to avoid doing actual boring therapy. The dark is a mirror, not a magic pill. If you bring a fractured mind into the pitch black, you will only find shattered glass. When I finally opened the door, the light was blinding. Everything looked exactly the same, but I was entirely different. I had stepped into the ring with my own mind, and I didn't win by throwing a punch. I won by dropping my hands. Defeating yourself does not mean destroying yourself. It means integrating the parts of you that you are afraid of. Your self-sabotage is just a scared child sitting in the dark. It doesn't need to be optimized. It doesn't need a productivity hack. It needs to be seen. Even when the lights are off, you are the haunted house, but you are also the one holding the key.